beautiful people. Happy Saturday morning. I apologize for a very late start this morning. I wish I could tell you I was doing something fabulous for self-care, like riding my bike or, I don't know, anything but what the truth was, which was I couldn't sleep and never went to bed until like 6 o'clock this morning. So I'm a little tired, and I didn't wake up on the wrong side of the bed. However, I woke up to a text that kind of made me feel like I did. And I'm going to get into that in a minute, because as I was jotting down my thoughts to talk to you guys, I was going to share this situation anyway. And then I read today's reading to try to help me not stumble across it like normal. And it gave me the answer to my question that I was going to ask you. So it's pretty interesting. So let's start with the reading. Turn it over. That's a saying from the program. How do you turn it over? We often hear this question in meetings. The struggle isn't as much with the turning over as with making a decision. When something happens and we feel confused, it generally boils down to one simple question. Are we going to do it our way, again, or follow the lead of our higher power? Deep down, we know the right thing to do. It may not be easy or familiar, but we need to do it. Resisting change and getting caught up in managing our own lives, the lives of other people, places, or things, is the start of our problems. That way, we take a simple task and turn it into a major chore. But we keep it simple and do the next right thing. We are turning it over. We need to listen to our inner voice. Sometimes it is easy to hear, other times it's difficult, because we don't like what it's saying. We need to sit quietly, become peaceful and open. The answer will come. If we can quiet ourselves, we can go to others in the program and listen to them. They will often tell us what we need to hear. Today I pray for the courage to accept direction and the courage to follow through into action. My favorite part of that was about being confused about what to do. So I'm going to try to give you the abridged version of what happened. And I kind of alluded to it a little the other day we had a little family/center group issues the other day in our little chat place. And the long and short of it is, I one of my friends, like, there's obviously different people in the program, but one of the folks that I communicate with regularly and see socially quite a bit during normal circumstances had said, I think I told you about this part about him having the kids and worried about the mom being sick, and puts a, polite text on there asking us to not speak, outside of like business hours or daytime hours, however it was worded. I think he called it like a respectable time to say, such. Essentially, there's a bunch of people that say good morning, or we post readings or whatever, and sometimes it's at 5 o'clock in the morning, sometimes it's 7. This morning it didn't start until 9:30, so it changes. But his point was, he has to keep the phone on in case of emergency in this situation, which was a fair point. But he was asking us to silence ourselves, essentially, or to almost like deal with recovery on normal business hours, which we all know doesn't work. So when I disagreed with him politely, he kind of went a little off the handle. It was totally not like how he would behave. And it was almost, I'm using the term temper tantrum. And he excluded himself from the room, kind of to make a point. Well, after he talks to some other people, he finds out there's ways, because my response was like, okay, this is, just basic Serenity Prayer 101. You can shut off the notifications. You can, leave the phone in another room. You have all these options. I don't know how it becomes the other 50-something of us our problem. I mean, I didn't say it mean. I just said, I almost thought his ask was an April Fool's joke, because I really couldn't believe that he was asking it. It was so uncharacteristic of him, the way that he did it. So a couple of the guys reached out to him. I had reached out to one of the other fellas, again, that I hang out with pretty socially, and the two of them are pretty close. And I said, hey, check on him. I don't get the impression he wants to hear from me yet because he left right after my comment. So, and that's what was different was he wasn't on a normal good day, maybe no coronavirus, maybe no being trapped in the house with a wife just getting over being sick and 4 children. Maybe he would have talked through it with us or respectfully disagree with me, which he has no problem doing. And we would have got to the fact that he could mute the notifications in this app and the problem would have been solved. But anyway, in the background, the guys calm him down. He comes back on the thread. One of the fellas says, he was understandably grumpy or whatever. Well, when this first happened, because I knew I didn't want to reach out to him, I wrote an email to him, but I sent it to myself. And it was kind of a way to let him know that even in the heat of the moment, I wasn't frustrated or anything. The note says something to the effect of, it doesn't sound like yourself. I don't think you would have acted this way. If anybody else acted that way in group, you would be saying they're acting like an addict. And I love you, and I'm sorry you're stressed, and I wish I could help you. And I didn't send it right away. So then he gets back in the community yesterday, and I was like, okay, it sounds like he's in a better place. So I forward it to him, and I add a little note on the top like, okay, I didn't think that I wasn't trying to upset you more. Again, love you. Sorry that you're feeling this way. Now, I have to tell you how I've learned a lot of things from being in the last relationship I was in. And one of those was because I was trying to work my recovery and because of who I want to be, times that I might be angry or feeling some kind of way, I've really learned to digest it, think about it, and I can usually get over things pretty quick. And instead of being, an asshole back, frankly, I've learned to just be like, okay, how big of a deal was it? Apply the serenity prayer, whatever. I can't control anybody else's behavior. So this morning, now my whole interaction now. I pretty much told you I disagreed with him. And then when he was upset, I wrote this email to let him know, like, I wasn't trying to be a jerk and I could tell he was not being himself. And then I follow it up with sending him the email. So this morning, this is what I woke up. Good morning with the smiley face. I haven't read your email because I'm not ready. That said, I do want you to know that I miss us. Miss us treating each other with respect and kindness. So just reading it makes my blood boil. And here I am thinking that I'm doing everything in my power to treat the situation with love and kindness. I didn't, I gave him time. I said kind words at the first incident and even to follow up on that. And I felt like that text that I just read was pretty passive aggressive. Like you're alluding to the fact you're saying that I'm not treating you with, love and kindness essentially, or whatever those words were. Respect and kindness. So I'm a little offended right now. And I'm telling you all this not as a woe me, but how the reading says, to share with other members in the group. So I'm kind of doing that. And before I got on air, I wrote down old me and new me because I think that's important. I sit here and I preach about recovery and trying to do the next right thing. And this just seemed like a really good example where I could share with you how my brain works. So I wrote down under old me, I would be passive aggressive. I'm frustrated. I could throw a temper tantrum and leave the room as well. I could block him off, whatever. I could remove myself from our relationship, or I could be a recovery version of myself and treat the situation with love and kindness. I'll be honest. I started typing, don't even bother reading the email. That was what I started typing. And because I've only had 2 hours sleep, and I knew I was acting impulsively, I at least put the brakes on. Now, I don't know. Tomorrow, I may write that, don't even bother. It depends on how this sits with me today. I don't want to be a jerk. That doesn't interest me at all. I'm just kind of flabbergasted. And it goes back to some of the other things I've said on these little mini talks is, we have to be kind and we have to understand the other person. Well, we don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. I feel like I have to. That's the person I want to be. So just talking about it's making me feel a little better. And I know the difference between right and wrong when it comes to handling him. And if this was a conversation that, if this was, for example, my ex, I would not say this story on air because I would always question myself if he was listening, would he think I was being passive aggressive? So even that, I won't even talk about that in context because I don't feel like that's good behavior just in case he catches the show. I don't want to be one-sided. So I'm going to try to not be one-sided today, and I'm going to, I guess, sit with it. I'll meditate on it. And there's three of us. I call them my center three. And the third one that I didn't really mention, he always says, give time. And, well, actually, you guys have met him. I interviewed him really early on. His name was Brett. But he always says that, give time. So maybe that's what I'll do in this situation. Because, again, as we're working on step 4 on the evenings, I don't want this to be me showing off my character defects. I want to be my best version. So I'm going to have to take a step back and wait until I could be my best version when dealing with this situation. And that's okay. That's part of my message today too. It's absolutely all right. I don't need to react right away. This isn't a time sensitive manner. I can wait until my feelings are in check and not where I don't feel so hurt and insulted, because that's really what it is. I feel hurt that he doesn't think I'm treating him with kindness and respect. And I'm sad that he's that stressed. I mean, I don't wish that on anybody. Based on different other times that him and I have had, I will call them rough spots, I know what'll happen is when we're in the right frame of mind, we will talk to each other, and it's almost like husband and wife level transparency, or at least what I think husband and wife level transparency should be. And we'll tell each other how it is when we can laugh about it. I mean, another time that we had kind of a difference of opinion, I guess, my feelings were hurt because I was getting ready for a big bike ride, and he's, an avid cyclist, and I wanted him to practice with me because I felt like it would be more safe. I would know kind of how far I could go and my body would feel. And he kept canceling the plans. And my feelings were hurt, and I was, upset about it. And again, I don't have a family of 6 people, essentially, and there was a situation, and we had to have a talk about that. And, we'll probably get over it. I'd like to think we're going to get over it. I'd like to think I'd get over it. Obviously, I'm a little wound up about it this morning. Okay, I'm done. I appreciate you listening. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll be back tonight for some more Step 4 fun. We're in the middle of priorities, and I don't want to lose momentum. So hopefully nothing wacky happens today. And we'll have a marvelous evening. All right, thanks again, dude.